My name is Seraphina, the Masked Lady. I was once human. Since then, I have lived many lives. I have been loved and reviled, adored and despised, been the child of a poor prostitute and a courtesan revered by thousands. When I was a child, a stranger with no face offered me the ability to move between the worlds. Since then, my every death has led to a new life. I once had a true love. He was ripped away from me when I was murdered in the 18th century. I search for him still. In the meantime, I walk in the shadows behind the universe, visiting realms both exquisite and terrible and bringing back stories and rhymes to amaze the mind and enchant the ear. Through my YouTube channel, I send the stories out into the world, hoping that my true love will hear them and reply. Hoping, if he does not, that I will find in the other souls who listen kindred spirits to help ease the pain. What of you, stranger? Did you come here tonight seeking a mystery? Do you hunger for a spark of excitement, for the dark thrill of fear? Will you listen as my tales unfold, knowing that some may very well take on lives of their own? Consider, stranger, whether you have the courage to walk between the worlds with Seraphina, the Masked Lady. Hello there, my delicious darlings, and a warm welcome to our channel. Well, what a week it has been. I have been so busy, I'm surprised I haven't met myself going back. Do you ever have a week when the demands on your time never let up, even after your body has already waved the white flag? Well, this has been one of those. That said, I haven't forgotten you while I've been racing hither and yon. As promised, I carved out some time to curate a selection of new poems for you. Today's episode considers mythical creatures, specifically those of a dark and fearsome nature. I have selected 9 poems about dark and dangerous mythical creatures for us to enjoy. The poem's subjects range from vampires to the wild kelpies of Scotland, from dark elves to the sweet-faced fairies who hide fangs behind their thin-lipped smiles. Some of the creatures discussed are what you might call new myths, created and written by the poets who stock the library between the universes. I have used them to balance out the poems about the ancient and familiar terrors of our own world. Today's episode is on the spooky side. Before we begin, it might be an idea to grab a blanket, a warm drink, and even a favorite plushie. Then, when you're sure you're ready, collect your courage and come with me to the dark and shadowed regions of the world, where strange things slither in the darkness, and the breaths you hear echoing around you may not be your own. Envy. The vampire hidden in the grass watches the younglings play. He knows that by the close of night, one of them will fall prey to the hunger that fills his veins and drives him to seek life. But for now, envy fills his heart and twists deep like a knife. Once upon a far long ago, he too was young and fair, and danced and laughed and loved with girls, with flowers in their hair. He shared their beauty and their life, exquisite, innocent, and thought that among such as those, his long life would be spent. Then he was a prince among men, and never spent a thought on hardship, sorrow, or on death. Only pleasure he sought. He found it flowing to his grasp, until the call to war taught him to fight and raise his blade against Hengrist and Thor. The prince was wounded on the field, and left abandoned there, where a foul thing discovered him, while feeding on despair, and on the blood of the abandoned, smothering their cries. Many had died there whimpering, but the young prince did rise, and spat. "You thing, I was not made to feed your appetite. You may well kill me here and now, but you will have to fight. Come then, and battle me," he goaded. "Let me see your worst. It will take that before I succumb to a demon cursed." What the prince hadn't known back then was his courage had bought, not brave battle or the swift death that he at first had sought. Instead, he'd impressed the nightmare, who, when it entrapped him, opened its wrist against his lips, and poured its own blood in. What it was like, what the prince felt, as from him passed away all trace of his humanity, I do not like to say, except that the prince screamed and begged, entreating the thing to tear out his throat and end his life, or simply run him through. He suffered fever, visions, hurt, and screaming agony. At some point, the monster left him. He screamed, "No, don't leave me!" But the foul demon heeded not. It swiftly did away, not showing one moment of care to its child that there lay. When the prince woke again upon the hellish plain of death, no other soul had been alive. Nobody had drawn breath. Not even the black demon thing, with its red glowing eyes, had remained to instruct him in the life he would despise. So he'd struggled on through the dark and hidden in the day until he left the blasted plain and dragged himself away. He'd walked eons of lonely nights now, without company, without a soul to care for him or ease his misery. The vampire often tried to die, but as he neared the end, some power seething in his veins proved the hunger's true friend and forced him to leave off the course. Whether through sun or blade, he'd chosen to cut short the curse the black demon had laid. He lives and lives but does not live, always against his will. Hard as he tries, the hunger comes and forces him to kill. He cannot spare an innocent, not though he should wish to. The hunger is a thinking thing and makes the vampire rue. He has lived a full 1,000 years, has strength and deep knowledge. Some humans even seek him out, demanding that he pledge to share his blood and make of them eternal ones like him. He gives them just one chance to run, and then he drinks them in. Yet, looking at the children's lives, it makes the once prince sad that he had more honor and grace when just a little lad than he does in the shape of one who thrives on blood and bone. And though seeming fair to his prey, he ever lives alone. The kelpie. Beware the fair and gleaming horse, stood in the field by day, at the end of the Scottish glen, where a loch spreads away, beyond heathery Highland hills. He may seem tame and rare, and let you stroke his glossy nose, if you approach him there. But if he kneels down, urging you to climb upon his back, flee, run away fast as you can, and don't ever look back. The wicked kelpie haunts the shores, where deep black waters lie, and sharp-toothed serpents lurk below. If you wish not to die, never clamber upon its back, or grasp its shining mane, for, if you do, you never will let go of it again. The kelpie takes a pleasing form to draw its victims in, but it's a cruel and pagan thing, a creature full of sin, that hungers after human meat, despair and desperate cries. Many a gentle mother wakes with teardrops in their eyes, because her sweet and sunny child her warnings did ignore. They hurried to the handsome horse upon the sandy shore. They climbed upon the green-eyed steed, laughing to hear it neigh, only to find, to their terror, they could not pull away. So how does the kelpie destroy those helpless, hapless souls? Well, once they're stuck fast to its flank, it dives to where pale shoals of quick fish swim. There it dives down, too swift to be observed, while those upon it struggle against a fate undeserved. The lucky drown, their lungs burning, as they're dragged down from light. For those who reach the loch's peat bed will feel the kelpie's bite. There, in the slick and lightless deep, it devours bone and blood, leaving, we hope, only the soul once more to rise above. Black-eyed children. If they knock upon your door, don't answer them tonight. They are not innocent nor children seeking to cause fright. If they call you in the dark hours, stay snuggled up in bed, so they may seek another soul to tempt from home instead. They serve strange gods. They serve strange gods, the things that roam on shadowed pathways through the night. They aren't the false, capering gnomes that leap from stiles to give us fright. Instead, stealthy, they keep their peace until the bright lights pass away, until the kids are hurried home and the young folk have had their play. Only when silence cloaks the land with icy light and frigid air, and the good people of the land dream innocent dreams without care, do they stretch out their nimble claws from behind tombstones, walls, and trees. From moss and mold and clinging slime, they haul their thin, twisted bodies. Then, across paths by moonlight limbed, sniffing, they go their prey to seek. What is their prey? Well, you may ask. Who but those bad children who sneak again from bed once parents sleep to revel, unseen, on the streets. They are the ones the thin ones hunt. The damned on quiet, sharp-clawed feet run stealthily. They cannot be heard, nostrils twitch for human flesh. Quiet as cobwebs in the air, they ride upon the night's caress. They trail the children through the town until they reach some lonely spot. Where should the man meek cower, scream, or beg for mercy, they would not receive it. Then the young they heard without a growl, without a cry, without speaking a single word, but snapping and biting, they drive their targets to a place so dark it is as a stranger to light, a sight created just for fear, a place hallowed only to night. There, they will set their claws in flesh and feast upon terror's sweet meat. But the children will not taste death until the creatures' gods they meet. So down to the dark, the thin ones drag babes of home and hearth bereft, to where hungry deities wait. Behind them, there is nothing left but the echoes of pleading cries. Then, in the dark, the old ones feast, and the emissaries of lies sing their foul hello to the beast. They seek to draw young spirits pure to greater darkness gone before. So mothers, hold your young ones close or lose them to the ghouls of yore. The hunger of the fairies. Beware, you men who seek to walk the Irish woodlands lush and green, in search of peace and restful hours. Beyond the city's shout and keen, the forest is a merry place, a chatter with the noise of life, and many boast of finding there relief from stress, sorrow, and strife. So, I'd not venture to restrain you from walking between the trees. I'll only issue this caution. Dear reader kind, I beg you please, should you an unknown corner turn, and find yourself in a strange place, where the sweet sounds of birdsong cease, and a chill wind falls on your face, a place where the green turns to gray, and the air itself stings your eyes, be quick, turn on your heel and run. You have no time for blank surprise. If you should flee the place at once, you may come safely home again, to share your pleasant memories of what you saw between the glens. But should you stay, you'll catch at once an at first sweet, then sickly scent. Then hear a voice both light and cool sing a lullaby or lament. You'll start to feel you found something wondrous and magic, rich and fair. Soon, a figure will approach you, slender, with clouds of palest hair. You'll watch her weave between the trees, swift and light-footed, peeking round the trunks of trees. You'll see that she is lovely in both sight and sound. You'll want her to approach faster, and wonder just what holds her back. That's when she'll show her claws and fangs. The fearsome creature will attack. Then, my poor friend, you'll turn to run. But, alas, it is far too late. For all color has fled the world. The fairy lass has closed the gate. The former world is lost to you. All that is left is the wasteland. Though you may flee and seek to hide, before long you will understand. When the fairy last bears you down, her strength forcing you from your feet, her fangs will sink into your flesh, and you'll become the maiden's meat. Fairies, it's true, can be lovely. Some are good too, in mind and heart. But those are not the only kind. Some are born wicked from the start. In lonely lands, they set their traps. They hunger for the flesh of men. When poor wanderers stray within, they wind in spells and enfold them. The fairies consume bone and blood. Some say the creatures gained the vice in ancient times when fearful men gave them children in sacrifice. Those weeping ones were ripped and torn. Then fairy lips found they were sweet. They swallowed the innocents down, not caring if they should entreat. Now, were you given leave to walk the gray and frozen plain alone, between the strands of deathless trees, you'd walk on piles of human bone. How do I know? Once, I too walked the green and fragrant woods alone, and stumbled on the chilly place, where ground and air were hewed like stone. There, I met with a creature foul, all appetite and snowy hair. Though I struggled and fought with her, the hungry thing devoured me there. When, at last, the agony passed, my spirit should have flown away to heaven's hands, but some low power weighted my soul. So now I stray, forever over paths of bone. Other souls dog my weary feet. I long for tender company, but the dead are forbid to speak to one another. You see, the fairy made an error there. She keeps us poor spirits for sport, and laughs when we weep in despair. But she forgot that we can speak to beings who are yet alive. That's why you hear my voice, young one. Now leave this place and after thrive, or through the centuries regret your mistake. Turn towards the sun. Let your feet fly and don't look back. Go now, wanderer. Run, run, run. The Skeleton's Feast. The skeletons rattle, they jiggle, they jitter, as under the black sky they prance. On dark winter's nights, they turn their roomy sight to the fields where their thin comrades glance around to meet their bows and enjoy the feast, as they do when they're given the right. Why should they not feast when they've risen from rot, and from the grave to seek deathless delights? The skeletons rattle, they jiggle, they jitter, as out through the darkness they flow. They reach and clasp hands, they press lipless mouths. Sometimes 2 or 3 of them go to find a grotto where, on banks of slick moss, they can lay them down to enjoy the pleasures of flesh that they knew before death, and that dearth of flesh cannot destroy. The rest sit down around square tables of rock and feast on worms and carrion. If you look at the hills, you may see the green fire, the cold flames meant to keep the dead warm. The skeletons rattle, they jingle and clatter, as their soundless voices raise songs. They drink sour wine with a chaser of slime. They whirl in a wild, crazy throng. They drink raucous toasts to the lingering ghosts, who were once their friends and family. Some of them even swing from the gibbet that stands at the bleak, cold crossroads where many of the dead ones choked into lingering death. They laugh at their former misdeeds. Others wait beside the river for walkers, and then jump at them from the reeds. The skeleton crew might seem merry to you, pleasing to view on a chilly night. But should the green fire light up near your home, then keep your windows locked up tight. The jovial peasant may well think it pleasant to tarry where the dead ones meet, but keep your distance when the skeletons dance, or you may wind up being their meat. Rusalka. Beware the rusalka if you walk by the cold river at night. They'll come to you as maidens fair, with rotund bodies firm and white. They'll smile bare-breasted, arms outstretched, beckoning you nearer to come, and lie with them in sweet congress. Beware, do not be overcome, and let them wind you in their arms. You will not find the depth of bliss Rusalka seemed to promise you. Despite their soft and tender kiss, they'll twine their arms tight around you, then into the dark water leap, holding you tightly as you drown in the green, slick and lightless deep. The Dark Elves. The elves of Cairnar are kind, aged and wise. They seldom speak to mortal men, but will welcome travelers who devoutly seek their aid or guidance. All the halls of Cairnar are bright and fair. Anybody would thank their stars if granted leave to linger there. But as the hearts and minds of men from good to wickedness vary, elves have their races, good and ill. A dark elf is a mystery that no being mortal should seek. They were born underneath the ground, where shadows lurk and fires burn, in caves that never heard the sound of wind whisper or cooling rain. Some have maggot-white skin and eyes, bulbous and black that sift the dark, distilling from the blackest sighs the faintest bright and fleeting spark. Others have adopted the hue of the tunnels through which they strive. Foul moss upon their limbs grows too. They are invisible and dark, but for the gold gleam that they hide in each iris, they're ragged slim, through the thinnest of cracks to slide. The dark elves are nimble and quick. They clamber up and down cave walls. They force their youngest so to climb, gladly slaying any who falls. Once, there were only a handful, existing far away from light, but they sent hunting parties up to the surface in the dead of night, kidnapping fair and gentle girls, too scared to cry in fear or pain, and binding them in their strong arms, bore them into the earth again. From those unfortunates were born a race divided into two. The pale females are prisoners in iron bars and silence mewed. The males, pitch black in metal bands, have liberty, well, of a sort. No brotherhood or loyalty exists within the lower court. Only division, struggle, spite. They strive, each one against the next, with claws, with armor, and with swords. Only the males who win, who best, and slay dozens of their own kin, when from their king license to breed, they are assigned a fair, soft mate, to serve in their beds at their need. Every dark elf longs for a son, to raise his own and train to arms. For a girl child, however fair, would be snatched early from their arms. By grace, the dark elves seldom come from shadow to the world of men. Only if weakling babes are born, do they come to abandon them in distant woods where no men walk, or if they seek again to find another human to kidnap, to give vent to more of their kind. So beware, maids with courage filled, who seek secret places to walk. If someone strange calls out your name, in words like gravel, do not balk. But before your strength drains away, run fast till you meet mortal men, or feel the light of rising day, blessing the earth's surface again. If you do not, and the dark elves bind you up with their iron bands, you'll live a slave beneath the earth, prisoner to their beds and hands. Should you meet elves of Cairnar, be courteous and kind to them. They may view you as like a child. They often do with mortal men, but never will they wish you harm. They will respect the good and brave. The dark elves flee them at first sight, or live in shadows as their slave. The wolves. The wolves are howling loud tonight. I shudder at the sound, not because I fear their sharp teeth or the snow-covered ground, not even the deeds they may do while shielded from the sun. For my front door is locked up tight, and I'm quick with a gun. I fear because I understand the words they call to me. To doff the clinging skin of man and run between the trees, joining in the thrill of the hunt. I block my ears, although, if I can speak the truth aloud, I wish that I could go. So, how did you like tonight's poems? Did they chill you? Would you think twice now about wandering the woods of England, Ireland, and Scotland? Have you ever encountered one of the dark creatures featured in our poems? What would you do if you came across a hungry fairy or black-eyed child? Do you think you would escape? If you made it to the end of the episode, please type the word kelpie in the comments. As always, at this time, I'd like to ask you to press like, subscribe, or follow and join our storytelling circle. Become an official delicious darling and help shape further episodes. I have plans tonight with a friend. We are going to a Celtic music event at a local pub. I'm looking forward to an evening of good wine, good company, and song. Until we meet again, take care of yourselves. Always carry a torch at night. Don't walk in strange forests alone. And sleep well, my delicious darlings.